What is going on, everybody? In my last run, my last 1.4 run, I talked about a lot about 1.5 and kind of my issues with it. I tried to name some of the positive things. They released 1.5.1 today, and I'm going to talk about both of these, try to do it as quick as I can, and then I want to show you a run that I completed today. So I've actually completed two runs today. One was a survival, and one was a tactics. So we're going to talk both of those, and I'm going to go over these changes, and then we're going to show you the run, and just kind of talk about, the implementation of 1.5. So first off, there's the new optional biome, and I love it. I love this biome. It's called Corrupted Confinement, and you need the Spider Rune to get into Toxic Sewers, and then you take the Spider Rune, and then you end up in Corrupted Confinement. It's so nice. It looks so nice. It's like a mini caverns. I really like it because it has Inquisitors. It has the Bombers, or not the Bomber. Yeah, they have Bombers as well. They have the Grenadiers. It's the pink one that throws the grenade. They have Slammers, and then they have Dark Trackers, and they have Demons. So they have all of those. It's like a little mini caverns. I really, really love it. The music is phenomenal. It might be up there for my favorite music in all of Dead Cells. And trust me, Dead Cells has some pretty great music. My favorite personally is the shot music. It's so fun. I really like it. And so that and Prison Depth. So they're kind of ringers for each other. They both have a curse chest in the beginning, and what that curse chest is going to do is it'll give you an item, a scroll, and then like a pretty expensive gem. Excuse me, I had some phlegm in my throat right now. But so those had a little bit of a change in 1.5.1, which was released yesterday because I'm recording this at 2 o'clock in the morning on October 12th. So there's going to be more changes in the alpha. But so I'll kind of go over both those changes. So basically, that curse chest is there, and curses are a little bit different. I'll get into that in a quick second. But basically, after you get all that, there's a door, and then the door closes right behind you. So you need to make sure that you get everything before that door closes. That's really, really important to note. So these curse chests, I think it is one of the best changes they have ever done. They have two changes that I think are the best changes they've ever done. And I'll talk about one of them in a minute, which is the recycling tubes. But these curse chests are so cool because essentially what they do is they drop an item. And if you're running custom mode, it'll be one of the items that you have. And if it's normal mode, it'll be a random item. But the thing is, it scales with your highest stat. So let's say that we are running a full-on tactics, right? We have bows, we've got thunder shield. Let's say, for example, we got magic missiles, we got a knockback shield, we got an owl, and we got a heavy turret, right? We have all four of those, and it's complete tactics build. So, what if the cursed chest were to drop a shovel? Well, now it's that shovel is going to be +2 in tactics. It increases dynamically with your highest stat at the time. So, for example, if you had your highest stat in tactics and for some reason your highest stat ended up being survival later on, that cursed item will end up becoming survival instead of tactics. And if it goes back to tactics later on, then that highest stat's going to be in tactics. That is such a cool change. I am a big, big fan of it. I think it's one of the coolest things they've ever done. And with cursed items, this might just be me, and my experience might be like a Mandela effect sort of thing, but I feel like cursed items have a greater chance of having a rare affix because I see it more in cursed items than I do in regular items. But that could just be me talking. But it's cool because even let's say, for example, you have a dual stat weapon. Like, let's say you're running custom mode, and okay, let's talk about the build that I have today, and I'll actually make a good use of this. So I have an Assassin's Dagger, right? That's brutality and tactics, but it's a tactics build, and sometimes you can get a Assassin's Dagger that's both brutality and tactics, but you want a double tactics Assassin's Dagger, right? If you get a cursed one, it'll be to that level's whatchamacallit, it'll be to that level's or to that biome's level. So in Prison Depths, for example, it's a level 8 weapons. So you end up with a level 8 Assassin's Dagger, and it'll be double tactics because again, it's dynamic scrolls. It's really cool. Highly recommend it. Next thing I want to talk about is the recycling tubes right here. So it's a new meta upgrade. So it's unlockable when you beat Hand of the King for the first time in first boss cell. So if you beat Hand of the King in zero boss cell, it's not going to appear. But after the first boss cell, it's going to appear. And the reason they're doing that is because you'll have the forge updated at that point to at least plus items, I think. I'm not exactly sure how the plus plus and S items go. I know you can only do 100% S items in 4 BC, and you get to 50% in 3 BC. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on that. But once you beat him in first boss cell, it basically looks like 4 different tubes, and I'll show you when I show you guys the run. It's 4 different tubes, and each of these will have a random assortment of items. And if you have custom mode unlocked, there'll be all the items that you have. So if you only have like 5 items, then it's gonna have 4 of them. If you have like 50 items unlocked, then it'll be a random assortment of those 50 items. I think that's the other really, really cool change, because what it does is that it doesn't make prisoner quarters a complete like shit show anymore. And excuse me for my language, but I really like, it's not that I didn't like prisoner quarters, it was just kind of a pain to get runs going sometimes because of the fact that like, yeah, like it was kind of difficult to, do certain things in prison debts, even on custom mode, because it was just so difficult to get something that you wanted. And you kind of had to like get lucky with item drops and things like that. And I think I said that in one of my runs before about prisoner quarters. So this is a cool change. You get basically 2 items, 2 weapons, and then 2 skills. And so you can put them all in, and that can kind of get you started on like, oh, what kind of build do I want? Especially if you're running normal mode. Normal mode got a big, 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 big upgrade with this one. So really love this change. Scroll fragments are the next one. So scroll fragments are basically the quarter of scrolls, and you get. I think in my run I had about 4 or 5 of these completed scroll fragments. So that's 20 in total. 5 times 4 is 20, I think. Yeah. So you get like between 2 and 5 in each biome, and you get 3 at the end of bosses. And they start appearing in 3 boss cell and onwards. So that kind of adds to your scroll count. There are issues with the scroll counts in 1.5 so far, and I'm going to kind of talk about that in a little bit. But scroll fragments, I think, are a pretty interesting idea. I'm not like against it. I'm not like, oh my god, it's the most amazing thing ever, like I am with recycling tubes. But I think this is kind of cool. Like, it's an interesting idea. Another thing I really like is the Explorer Instinct. So basically, when you complete about 80 to 90% of the level, the rest of the biome opens up. So what that does is, if you're in a level like Forgotten Sepulchre, or what's another level with the Curse Chest? Ossuary. If you're in those levels, you can check out the entire biome, and if you had missed a Curse Chest or something like that, you can go and grab that. And actually, what they do in Explorer Instinct is they'll have little skulls all over the map, and those are enemies that you haven't killed, or enemy clusters that you haven't killed. So you can travel to those, kill enemies, clear out curses, or get stats. It's really cool, and it also reveals like scrolls. It reveals lore rooms, things like that. It's pretty cool. I am actually a big fan of that. Fear Curse Chest. So this is something that's kind of caused a little bit of controversy, and by a little I mean a lot. So the issue with Curse Chest right now is that there basically are no Curse Chests. So I'll list out the ones that like are definitely gonna have one. So Prison Depth / Cryptic Confinement will definitely have one. They're at the very beginning of the level. Forgotten Sepulchre has one at 3 BC, the 3 BC door. Ossuary had one at the 2 BC door. I Slumbering Sanctuary has both Curse Chests still. So Slumbering Sanctuary has not changed at all. One of the few levels that hasn't changed. I believe Clock Tower still has its curse, and Caverns, when I was there, didn't have its curse. So it could be random, but supposedly the chance of a random curse chest in each level has also been updated. But I don't know if that means that there are more, that there are less. I think it means there are less because I haven't seen any. I saw a stream, V.me stream, where he actually got a curse chest in High Peak Castle. I have been there like 4 times, and I haven't seen a single one. So I don't know. This is causing a bit of an issue when it comes to power by the time you hit the, later parts of the game. And again, I'll kind of bring this up when I do the run, and I'll kind of bring this up a lot as I'm talking about these. But for now, we'll leave it at that. There's fewer curse chests, so you're only going to get maybe like 3 curses in the entire run. And scroll fragments supposedly are to make up for it, but you still end up a bit underpowered because of different other changes that have to do with level design. So new mutations, so we have 3, Caltrops, Networking, and Tactical Retreat. Caltrops, I don't like it at all. Basically, it drops up to 9 Caltrops on the ground, so you roll 3 times and it places 3 on there. So it damages and slows enemies. The damage is kind of, irrelevant. it doesn't do much damage, but it does slow them down. So this works nicely in biomes, but it works horribly against bosses because bosses, the thing is, you need to basically know how to like dodge their attacks. But if they're moving slowly, then you're not necessarily able to like, how do I put this? You're not necessarily able to like deal with, oh, like, Concierge is just gonna do his little a shockwave thing now. It's gonna come out slower, so it's gonna be a little messier. So I don't like it. I'm okay with it like staying. It's just a me thing. It's like a personal thing. I don't like caltrops at all. I've used it. I used it with the magic missiles build. Couldn't use it. Didn't like it at all. Networking. So you stick an arrow into 2 or more enemies and make them share the damage that they take. So this works with piercing. So let's say you have something like a quick bow that has pierce, and I'm going to use the example of this tactics build that I'm going to be showing you guys in a little bit. But let's say this quick bow is like piercing enemies, so they're going to start sharing damage. This works if you have like a really bulky enemy, like a failed experiment, and a fragile enemy like a dark tracker, so like Sepulcher. So they will share the damage, so you do more damage. It's pretty nice. The last one is tactical retreat, and this one I think is a good idea. I would just make a quick change to it. So you dodge in time, slows nearby enemies, prevents them from inflicting melee. So this works kind of similar to the mutation adrenaline on brutality, except you're healing. I would actually do that exact same thing here, except you're also slowing by nearby enemies. So because melees is irrelevant on tactics, like it's straight up irrelevant, because one hit and then you're like below half health on like 90% of enemies. So just don't even bother with it. But what I will say is if you change it to like you heal by like 3 or 4%, by dodging, then yeah, like I can bop with that a little bit. I think that would be really, really good. But for now, tactical retreat's a good idea in theory, but it doesn't necessarily work. So colorless items with stat boost now increase your high stat dynamically. So that's kind of like what I was saying before with the cursed chests. Legendary items are still legendary items. And this one has caused a little controversy. I was completely against it at first, but after talking to a couple people on Reddit, who explained it to me very, very nicely and respectfully, they have kind of not convinced me, but they've made me look at the other side. So shout out to those guys. If you watch it, you know who you are. Thank you for talking to me about that. Basically, the idea was double builds, so like double owls, for example, were a bit like broken and kind of hampered creativity, and they wanted to reward normal mode players rather than custom mode players. On the other hand, double boomerang cannot be used to get achievements. There is a way in custom mode you can bring it back, but it won't count for achievements. And for someone like me who has all the achievements, it doesn't exactly matter. But it's kind of my whole thing about like a run feeling invalid. But like certain weapons, if you want to play completely according to the rules, double boomerang is now completely like done. Like it's not good anymore because double boomerang was the only real like thing that you could run with it. You can still kind of use it as a secondary weapon, as like a stun sort of weapon, but it's purely a secondary weapon. And the same goes for throwing knives and Boy's Axe as well, because Boy's Axe actually doesn't do that much damage anymore since 1.3, but double Boy's Axe was still really good. So a lot of weapons that you could have made use for with double builds aren't used anymore. Valmont's Whip is still excellent. It's just like you can't run double Valmont's Whip anymore. And like I said, like if you really want to, you can use it in custom mode. There's a way to like do that. So I am still on the fence about it. I know that a lot of people are okay with it, but as someone who doesn't really like normal mode that much, I I'm not a big fan of it. And it's nothing against normal mode. I think, if that's what you like, then it's fine. But for me, like I always have specific builds in mind. That's kind of what this series is. It's fun with builds. So some of the builds that I run are double, like double Valmont's with double owls, or double Boy's Axe, or double throwing knives, things like that. So I kind of am not a big fan of it, but I can see why others would like it. Custom mode, reverting the chain. So yeah, like it locks achievements. There's another one to increase the number of mutations, which also locks achievements. And this is one of the ones where it's straight up like, oh, like I can have like 5 different mutations. Don't do that. Added a custom mode option to make every item colorless. That could actually work really well in normal mode because then you can just mess around with a lot of different builds. So that'd be kind of cool. Like a tactics giant killer would be kind of sick. 2 new achievements, including one for being gigantic without taking a single hit. I swear to God that that was an achievement in 1.4. Let me take a look at it. I guess it wasn't there. This is definitely a Mandela effect thing because I swear that I saw one. Uh, I don't know. I don't know. I apologize because I really thought that there was a no-hit giant one, but I guess there isn't. So there is another achievement. I don't know what it is. Um, so I don't know. And you have to have at least 20 items in custom mode runs to unlock achievements. I was against it at first. I'm okay with it now because achievements should be like an actual achievement. Whereas if you're like me and then you have all the achievements, then you can just like kind of like, and you have runs in mind, you can just go ahead and do that. Or if you don't care about achievements, you can just go ahead and do the run. Like like this run today, I only have 5 things unlocked. So like for me, like it doesn't matter like whether or not I have achievements or not. Um, I guess not taking a single hit from Giant is a achievement now, which I swear that that was an achievement in 1.4, but I guess it's not. And like I said, I don't know what the other achievement is. So balancing, they removed the hard cap for 99,999 damage, so that makes Giant Whistle hilarious. Um, I in my survival mode run, in my survival run, it was a heavy crossbow punishment. I think it was Root Grenade and Crusher. So when the collector drinks his Panacea, it literally went down in one shot. Like after I stole it from him, it literally went down in like one shot. It was kind of hilarious. If I'll try to pull up footage later on and put it in another video, but I was laughing pretty hard at that. But yeah, the damage cap is released, which means Giant Whistle is now very, very viable against bosses, and so is a powerful grenade. So that's also really nice. Um, Cannibal got a bit of a nerf, which is good because Cannibal starts the 3 strikes. Once you get hit, like it you bump, so and then you get hit that second time, and then you get a hit third time. But at least this way he'll like pause, and then you can like roll out of the way, or you can like parry or do something. Guardian Haven leads directly to Throne Room. So what that is basically the Guardian's Haven. You beat the giant, and you can either go into the door for High Peak Castle, or you can go into another door that goes directly to Throne Room. And that Throne Room door has 2 legendary scrolls, or not legendary scrolls, triple scrolls to make up for not going to High Peak Castle. So in High Peak Castle, you typically do have 2 triple scrolls, but you also have 2 dual scrolls. So I would actually add one of those. I would add 1 dual scroll to the throne room, to the throne room exit, and then I would add another triple scroll to High Peak Castle just to incentivize going there. Corrupted power damage buff now scales with item level and quality. That's pretty cool. Protector platform increased, which means less mobs around. Yeah, so the platform cost is basically like how much it's going to take up on a platform. So like Dark Trackers, for example, don't have a high platform cost because like you'll see like 5 or 6 of them on a screen at once. So Knife Thrower has also had a platform cost increase lately. So just enemies like that, and it's good. I think it's a good change. So protectors are very annoying. Nobody likes them. So it's good to see them kind of get a little bit of a nerf. So I'm actually completely okay with it. Also, there are protectors in Corrupted Confinement. So have fun. Sweeper's platform costs increase. Again, just less mobs around. Ramparts is pretty easy now. And I'll actually talk about this really quick. So in 1.5.0, Ramparts was stupid. I'm sorry, I hated Ramparts. It wasn't, I know hit Ramparts, right? But there were at least 100 of those buzz cutters. It was unnecessary. I had 215 kills because again, Ramparts was super easy now. So I had 215 kills. That was insane to me. Like I was just like, when is this going to end? And I saw like 8 or 9 bats in one spot. They fixed it in 1.5.1, but that was insane. I was just like, what is happening? And I do have footage of it. I'll try to show someone like a blooper reel or something like that. Like that was so ridiculous. Skull's spread in between biomes has been slightly balanced to be more coherent with the difficulty of the level and to prevent some roads and biomes to be a clearer, better choice than its counterparts. I'm okay with this because now Clock Tower and Sepulchre are kind of on the same level. The problem is they don't have enough scrolls in them. I would add like 2 triple scrolls in each. Caverns, I would do the same. Because they added dual scrolls to Sepulchre. So now the problem is you don't increase your main stat by 7 on 4 and 5 BC. You're only increasing it by about 4 or 5. So that's kind of not great. Cleaver cooldown reduced and health points increased. I had Cleaver in S tier for 1.4. This makes it even better now. Ice Crossbow now scales with survival. I don't care. Ice Crossbow still sucks. Frost Blast now scales with survival in addition to tactics. Frost Blast still sucks. Icebow now dual scales with survival in addition to tactics. The idea behind green scaling of freezing items is to begin alternatives to shield in the secondary slot. I like that. I think that's really, really cool. It's a good idea. I don't care about Frost Blast and Ice Crossbow, and I understand that I had Frost Blast above Icebow in my tier list, but this actually incentivizes using Icebow because now I can use it with Nutcracker, and I'm going to try that soon. So that'll be great. Lightning Bolt doesn't scale with survival anymore. That's fine. I use Lightning Bolt mostly as a tactics weapon anyways. Limited spawn of hammer to 1 room instead of 2. That's good because hammers can be kind of ridiculous sometimes. I've had to deal with like 2 of them before. Oh boy, not fun. I don't know about elites. I don't think that applies to elites. Advanced Forge, upgrade style cost divided by 2. There's still no need to get Advanced Forge. Just upgrade your Forge normally. Increased drop rate of blueprints by hammer. I forgot what the hammer actually gets. War Spear and Oil Grenade. Okay, so it's a higher percent for those now. That's cool. Dark Tracker now drops Hayabusa Boots in 1 BC+. That's fine. The Elite Room is no longer there in Sepulchre with the 2 Dark Tracker Elites, which is good. I like that. Prevent mobs from spawning in various secret zones, vine rooms, teleport rooms, etc. I guess that's fine. I don't really have an issue with that. Legendary items and items attained in Curse Chest now have 1 bonus level. And, yep, that's what I was talking about. So now it's on like the same exact level as like the shops, and that's really good. Improved detection of perfect dodges for adrenaline and tactical retreat, and they further improved on this in 1.5.1 because adrenaline was very, very buggy. It's been like that since 1.3. If you unlock an item at the collector, the item now drops to the higher level and take your forge level into account. Thank God, because like if I unlock, let's say I decide to like redo this whole thing again, I'm on 4 BC. I don't want to have like a zero level item. Like it's really bad. Like at least I get an S tier item that way or a double plus. So that's really good. Prevent the laser eyes and crystal shower from happening at the same time while fighting the giant. That is blatantly true. That is blatantly true. The laser eyes and the crystal shower are not there, but what's there is the laser eyes and the laser shooting at the fists. So if you don't have a shield against the giant, you're completely screwed. That needs to be completely fixed to the point where that combination should not be existing because that basically renders you helpless against a giant if you don't have a shield. And I don't like that. Like I shouldn't have to bring a shield to fight a boss. Like I should be able to fight every boss without a shield, but it's pretty much impossible without a shield. Because the thing was, I did a lot of damage to Giant. I had a Hayabusa Boots, Hokuto's bow build, right? And I had him to about half health, and then he started doing that. He trapped me with the eye lasers, and then he was shooting the bullets at me. I was desperately trying to dodge, but I was taking damage from the laser. I was taking damage from the eye lasers and from the regular lasers. It was horrible. I absolutely hated it. And with the shield, that heavy crossbow punishment build, I was able to do fine, but it's still broken. Like that should not be a thing. It really shouldn't be a thing. Adding some invulnerability frames for Telluric Shock. Yeah, Telluric Shock has needed some iframes. Now it can distinctly hold itself apart from Powerful Grenade. I think that was a good one. Sweeper attack range reduced, which is good because sweepers had way too big of an attack range. Librarians have a more limited detect range. So if you don't know, librarians are the ones in Astrolab in 5BC. Um, so this is both good and bad because the good part is they don't aggro you from like halfway across the biome. So that's good. And so you're more prepared now. The bad part is you have to actually deliberately get into their line of sight, which means you can't really like prepare for them the way you want to. And now they exist inside the final castle. So that's kind of an issue. Shovel got a big buff, so now it repels all grenades in range. So you just start smacking things, and then you get the grenades. So that works against hammers, it works against bombardiers, works against grenadiers, works against bombers, works against Hand of the King. Shovel really got a big buff here, and it's been needing a buff for the last like 5 iterations of Dead Cells because it has not changed since 1.0, and Shovel was pretty close to being bad. So glad that it got that change. Um, Another big one, the bosses skipped the tutorial phase on 1BC plus. So from 1 to 5BC, they don't have a tutorial phase anymore. So for those who don't know, tutorial phase is that very first phase that a boss has. So let's take Concierge, for example. He'll have the aura, and then he'll have the one strike, but he won't do the jump. And then it takes longer for him to activate the aura and stuff like that. So that's basically all gone now. With Giant, he doesn't have that initial first phase Hand of the King. He'll start doing the triple strike right away instead of the normal first strike where he doesn't really do much. Timekeeper jumps straight into where she's spinning around the little shurikens and then shoots that at you. That's the first thing that she does. So, yeah, there you go. I am on the fence with that one. It does make bosses harder. And I think it makes it harder in a healthy way. But like I said, I think certain bosses need to be fixed up. Like, I think Timekeeper needs less health than it currently has, which is weird because right now it's actually one of the stronger bosses. Giant is still the strongest boss, but Timekeeper is one of the hardest because of the fact that, like, oh, it's a pain. So I think Timekeeper needs a reduction in health. Uh, Collector didn't really change that much. It more or less remained the same. Hand of the King, yeah, like I said, it has that change. I haven't faced Conjunctivius yet, but I don't typically fight Conjunctivius because I don't really like going into Ancient Sewers because, I don't know, I like Ossuary more. Ancient Sewers is not difficult. It's just, I like Ossuary better. So, I haven't done Conjunctivius yet, but it'll be like the same. So, it'll start, like in the second phase, Conjunctivius has an aura, so it'll keep that aura going. Um, Alienation reduces melees as well. I don't really use Alienation, but, go ahead. It's good. Now Alienation is actually usable. Resistance buff given by the legendary altars to the enemies has been decreased. Yeah, that's good because what I kept having to do was like pick apart enemies. And if I was cursed, then it was such a pain. Like I would have to go and then aggro them and then run far away. It's just a pain. I didn't like it. But I'm glad that that's changed at least. Frantic Sword inflicts crit damage if you have less than 50% of your health or 50% of Melee's bar filled up. It is what it is. I always think that Frantic Sword should be increased to 60%. I don't know, 50%, especially on tactics, like 50% basically means you take one hit and you're done. And brutality, there's just better brutality weapons out there. And I did put Frantic Sword in A tier because it is really good, but I don't know. I just don't see a point to Frantic Sword most of the time. So yeah, I mean that's that for as far as new changes and balancing and stuff like that. Level design, so Flask Room accommodates for growing item pool, so yep, that's a thing. Broken Flask and Flask Room to show the items locked during custom mode. So the kill streak icon got a little bit of a cool little change. So now if you have 60 kills, it'll be on the bottom right, so it'll be like gold, and if you got 30, then it'll be silver. and otherwise it's not going to have a color. So that's pretty cool. Anything else? Warning frames before lightning bolt starts hurting you. That's cool. I think that's helpful. And with lightning bolt, you practice it enough, then you start understanding like when the hit comes. But then there's no like actual like, when does this happen? Lower rooms have their own color on the map. That's really good because if you unlock the Explorer instinct, then you can see the lower rooms and you can like avoid them or do whatever you got to do with them. What else? Magic missiles and pyrotechnics got a huge buff, so now they're like quick bows, so you can just hold down the button and they shoot automatically. Pyrotechnics, this doesn't really matter, but magic missiles, this matters because with magic missiles, the last 1.4 run I ever did was magic missiles, knockback shield, owl, and something else. Can't remember what it was. Might have been like a turd or something. I honestly don't remember, but I'll pull it up. Why not? It was a good run, so I'll pull it up. Did I even save it? No, I didn't save it. Whatever. Maybe I'll do a video on that later. But magic missiles, you can hold it down now and it works like quick bow. And I think it's better for it. Add an option to delay milliseconds during level loading at the end of the run. I don't care about that, but some people do. I guess it works for speed runs. Alpha saves have everything unlocked for the get-go, so you can run a fresh alpha file save. You don't need to worry about unlocking things. You can just go ahead and do it. So that's nice. Add a sound and visual effect when symmetrical lines and oil core crit conditions end. That's cool. Light speed backdash ends without being used. Yep, I think all this is cool. And then different bugs. So predator mutation having no cap for its duration. Typically it was around 4 to 5 seconds, but then that would get kind of broken if you were into the like late 30s and 40s, especially in Astrolabe. Then you would be invisible for way too long of a time. Bats not always facing the hero before attacking. Yeah, that was a bit weird. I did notice that, so that's nice to see now. Sweepers not always facing the hero before attacking. Yep, same thing. Transition between Cavern and Guardian's Haven having a higher item level than both levels. I don't remember this. I think so. If you 60'd in Caverns, you get a level 13 item going into Guardian's Haven. So I think it might be a level 12 now, and that's fine. Parashield queuing attacks for a very long time. I'm not sure what that means. I don't like Parashield, as some of you may know. Prevent grenades from hitting you after you manage to kill Hand of the King. I've never dealt with that. I thought that was done with 1.2. I died like that in 1.0 once. It was a fresh file win. Some guy, I still remember it to this day. Some guy didn't believe me because he was just like, oh, like, how can you have done that to Hand of the King without like unlocking anything? And it's like, dude, you unlock stuff on your first run. Things take like 5 cells, and like the health blast takes like 5 cells. Like you'll unlock things. Anyways, that was like a year and like 2 months ago. I don't even know why I'm bringing this up now. So yeah, I guess the grenades don't hit you after Hand of the King. Whatever. I feel like that should be more of a thing for normal mode because 1.2 added the boss dying transition, so that was big. Certain spoiler item hitting through walls. I didn't even know that item hit through walls, so that's cool. Prevent being able to roll out of boss rooms when the boss screams. Yeah, that actually happened to me with Conjunctivius. I used Phaser right when it was against the wall, and I ended up outside. That completely destroyed my run because I couldn't do anything. I couldn't move. So yeah, that's it for the major changes. And 1.5.1. So they added an exit to the castle after the Giant Slayer, so that's good. So you can go into High Peak Castle. Exit to the Throne Room still exists, has 2 triple scrolls, like I said earlier. Cavern and Transition from Forgotten Sepulchre lost 2 scrolls each to balance everything out. It doesn't balance everything out, so it makes you weaker. They need to add those scrolls back because you're still weak against bosses. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. Like against Timekeeper, I only had like 29 tactics, and Timekeeper didn't lose anything in terms of health. Like that's my whole thing. Like yes, they decreased health and they hit less harder for Giant, Concierge, and Conjunctivius, but Timekeeper, Hand of the King, and Collector still hit the same. Collector, I'm fine. The Collector is just the same, but Hand of the King is also an issue. I guess it's not that bad. Timekeeper is really the issue here. Timekeeper is the big one right now. Conjunctivia, I don't know about Conjunctivius. I know Concierge. Um, yeah, they did a better job with scrolls in 1.5.1, but it's still not that good. Like I only finished with 33 tactics in this run, so that needs to change. Clock Tower lost a dual scroll, but got two triples. Cavernous Sepulchre got one more triple scroll. Yeah, see, like they each need at least five triple scrolls because again, you're just so underpowered by the time you get to the second boss. You are so underpowered still. And with that survival run, I was at 36 survival, but that was because I got really lucky with like challenge rifts and getting, just good amulets and stuff like that. But if you don't get lucky, then you're going to be underpowered, and I have a problem with that. So I hope in the next version they increase just how many scrolls there are, because you're just way underpowered right now. Or just make Timekeeper and all the other bosses just have them have decreased health. Like that's another thing. Like okay, Giant is already broken, completely broken if you don't have a shield. But yeah, like bosses are a pain right now. Hand of the King and Collector aren't that bad. It's all the other bosses that are annoying. Concierge isn't bad. It's just still a very boring fight. But yeah, they need, especially the second bosses with Giant and Timekeeper. Like they need big nerfs. So Buzzcutter and Ramparts got decreased, so you're not going to be killing 200 enemies now. But I did go there in a run, and there's still a lot there. It was like 180 enemies. It was kind of ridiculous. Prison depths and corrupt confinement were increased, so yeah, that's good. And thank God they added a shop. They needed a shop big time. Prison depths key system, so minus the golden key. Those biomes need another scroll because you're only getting one scroll right now. So I think that's not good. So you definitely need to you need to have two scrolls there because the old prison depths had two scrolls and it worked out. That's why you went there for those two scrolls. And I feel like why even go there? And I do go there on this run, but again, why go there? There's no point. So again, just add more scrolls. That's really the big thing I can say right now. If you're not gonna have curse chests, add more scrolls. But I still think you should add more curse chests because curse chests are awesome. Mutation page in the stats panel. I think that we also need a couple things in the stats panel. So if you die to an enemy on curse, that should count as a death by that enemy. I would also like to see a curses died by curses stat as well. I would like to see, this might be really hard to do just because it might mess up the game's memory, but I would like to see like maybe your last 10 wins. I would like to see like what the builds were. Like that would be pretty cool. Anything else that I care about? Oh yeah, 1.5.0 Giant Slayer wasn't in Sepulchre, now it is. That's good. Change the kill door count after Giant's Haven into a perfect kill door. Yeah. Fix the bug preventing elites to spawn in prison quarters. Yeah. So in 5.0, elites weren't there, but they're back. Prison depths and corrupted confinements. I think in prison depths there's two elites. Corrupted confinement, same thing. Two or three, I can't remember. Anything else? Oh, so another thing. So if an item has a rare affix and it drops, it'll actually have a star next to it. So that's pretty cool. So if you're in like in a weapons altar where you can choose between two weapons and one of them would actually have a star on it. It's just a little graphical thing. It's not that big of a deal. Remove tutorials from alpha saves. Yeah, thank God. That was getting kind of annoying. Custom mode locking achievements when mutations were locked. Only weapon skills were taken into account. I don't know about that. Yeah, that's it for 1.5.1. And I'm going to go load up the run now. All right, so this is the run in question. So we are going to be looking at the following: Quick Bow, Assassin's Dagger, Wolf Trap, and Phaser. So we'll kind of talk about what each one is providing, what my point of this build is, and then we'll just kind of go from there. So Quick Bow gives me range, and it pierces if there's, I think, 3 arrows stuck in enemies, and given how rapidly it fires, it's quite good. Phaser Assassin's Dagger. It's a classic. Wolf Trap keeps enemies locked in place. I'm going to be looking to get a Wolf Trap that can give me some poison synergy as I get hit immediately. See, Wolf Trap gets me out of situations like that. And, you know, Phaser is Phaser. So, pretty solid build. I came up with this one in 1.4 alpha, I think, right when I was getting started with learning how to use melee tactics, and then I figured out that melee tactics was literally my favorite thing ever. So, I just wanted to pay homage to melee tactics here. But I also did want to see how this build would work in version 1.5. That was the bigger thing. Something to note in Prisoner Quarters is that knife throws aren't there anymore. So knife throwers are still there, and they're still there in prison quarters or prison depths, and they're there in not Hype Castle. They haven't been in Hype Castle in a minute. What was the other one that they're in? Stilt Village. They're in Stilt Village, Prisoner Depths, and I swear there was one more. Sepulcher. That was the one. I don't really know what I was trying to do here. I think, yeah, I was trying to aggro that Grenadier like somewhere else. But yeah, we take care of that. We take care of that elite Rampager, and we're gonna continue on forth. So I'll be able to talk about some of the things I like in version 1.5 as well as things that I think need improvement. Obviously, the scrolls are a big issue, and then I'll be able to like physically show you guys what I'm talking about by the time we get to Timekeeper. But for now, I can talk about some of the other things that are different. Weapons haven't really changed much outside of whatever was on the patch notes, so nothing has really gotten buffed by any like new mutations. Like I said, like Caltrops is not very good, and networking, I haven't had a chance to use it yet. I think it's a cool idea. I think it can work. It looks like it got a buff as well in 1.5.1, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going to work. I might try like another quick bow build just to see how that works out. That's a really good Assassin's Dagger. I'm going to be taking that with me for a while. And spoiler alert, that Phaser is going to last me pretty much the entire run. It's simply by verge of not getting anything better. So right there, you can see Explorer's Instinct hit because I got around 85 to 90% of the level done. So now everything is unlocked, and I knew I was missing the scroll at that point, so I was able to find out where that scroll was instead of having to look all over for it. So that was pretty cool. So I really like the change of Explorer's Instinct. If I were to make a suggestion, I think that Explorer's Instinct should hit at around 60% of the level completed instead of like 90%. Because at that point, you pretty much have the whole thing completed anyways. So I'd like to see that fixed up a little bit. But otherwise, I think it's fine. I think it's really cool. Maybe even a mutation that'll allow us to see the entire thing before the level even starts. I know we have the Forgotten Map, but does anybody actually use the Forgotten Map? I know it was meant for Astrolab, but Astrolab is fairly easy to navigate. It just takes a while. But, well, I shouldn't be talking. If you've ever seen any of my runs before, you'll know that I frequently get lost in Astrolab. Like, that's like my thing, is getting lost there. So, I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing. But the issue with Forgotten Map is that like you're foregoing one skill. Uh, Hurts you in scrolls, hurts you in damage output. It just hurts in a lot of different ways. And right up there is that scroll fragment. So I need 3 more, and then I can get myself a nice little scroll. One nice thing about Assassin's Dagger is that it's so fast that you can actually turn around pretty quickly. I have literally no idea how I didn't get hit there, but I'll take it. I just don't know how I didn't get hit. Also returning to Promenade are the little bat dudes. I think they're literally called bat. Like, very creative name. But yeah, so they're back. They don't really add that much to the level. I think they just wanted more enemies. They're a little annoying to kill sometimes, but I don't think they're that big of an issue at the end of the day. They're similar to kamikazes. Like, they take basically one hit and they're dead. It's not like buzz cutters that are a little tankier, and they're not like corpse. Not the corpse juice. Corpse juice are the same way. The little biters in Stilt Village, like those are pretty bulky, I would say, as far as worms are concerned, and I swear I always get hit by them. Because this is one of the few enemies I still don't know how to parry. Buzz cutters are the other one, I would say. I figured out how to parry kamikaze, so that was nice. Quickbow has a nice little arc that allows you to hit from like certain platforms onto another. So that helps me tremendously when I'm trying to deal with the ins and outs of, trying to hit things on different platforms and such. And I didn't even talk about mutations, but yeah, so mutations are going to be initiative, schema. I'm going to take schema later on, and then tranquility. So tranquility, for those who don't know, basically you get a shot at, so shots from long range basically do more damage. I don't know by how much. It's a pretty significant amount though. And I think by long range they mean like 5 tiles or more or something like that. So I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to be doing here. But that's my 60, so that's good at least. And we're doing good on damage right now. Because my Assassin's Dagger is getting 50%, so that's always nice. So we come with our first blunder of the game. Is that stupid kamikaze was below me. I don't know if I really care if that's changed or not. Like, kamikazes, sometimes you get really bad luck with them. And sometimes they end up right in front of you. So, tough break for me, but Luckily, we're not in Sepulcher, and so we're not taking that much damage. It did what, 35%? But it did more than 35% because I got some health back off of killing enemies. But yeah, I kind of feel like it should kind of be right in front of you and not below you because there's like no way to kill it and you got to run away and they detonate quick. So uh, not my favorite thing in the world. But you can kind of see right there that that assassin dagger had the +2 or that skull and then the 2, so that means it did 100. That means that there was some sort of affix that like gave it 100% damage taken, whether or not that was whether or not it was 100% taken and given, or if it was 1% for 1% healing and then 100% taken. So, but that skull is there, so that's kind of cool. I dig it. I'm cool with stuff like that. Is it needed? Probably not. But I don't know. I like little graphical changes like that. It just kind of shows that like they're at least attempting to keep track of, just different changes. That's kind of cool. And so keep in mind that this is alpha. So when version 1.5 hits on beta, I'm going to have to go ahead and unlock things for myself. And hopefully we get an idea on how to unlock things, because one of the problems with alpha right now is that one of the problems with alpha before was that there was just no way to unlock things because you didn't know how to do it. And you just kind of had to like take a wild guess. So I actually like just having a 100% save file right off the bat. I'm trying to do my best in not aggroing these enemies, but the problem is like the runner and the failed experiment run at like weird paces. But, we're able to fix that up, so we're good. And luckily for me, when that kamikaze hit me, I was already at well over 60, so I'm still going to be getting my level 9 item. Bats are weird. Sometimes they'll aggro from far away, and sometimes they won't, and they'll just kind of just chill up there. It's a bit random, but that's not a big deal for me because it's a bat and it doesn't do much damage. But it's still kind of like, I don't know. One thing is for certain, though, I would like to see less buzz cutters in Ramparts. Buzz cutters are very annoying because they'll fly all over the place and they're somewhat tough to kill. Same with the sewer bats that come from the hammers and the purulent zombies. I think that's what they're called, or is it the undead zombie? I don't know what they're called. It's the one in Graveyard. Sometimes I'm a coward in Dead Cells, and this is Exhibit A. Because I probably should just go up there and kill those enemies, but I don't really want to do that because protectors are very annoying and they have way too big of a range. I mean, it's not like they're broken and need a fix or anything. It's nothing like that. I just find them annoying. It's like bombardiers. Like, are bombardiers really broken? No, they're not, but they're annoying. And like I said, I'm taking that phaser the entire way. Which sucks because I wish I had a better phaser because I would have been able to do slightly more damage. We are going to aggro that elite. Extra jump in the air is always nice. Phaser has a huge range. Like, it really has a big range. If they're on the same platform, expect to expect to be able to use it as intended. That's what I love about Phaser. I'm trying to go for the style points with that, but I'm not that cool. So we can safely go to Prison Depths. We get that level 9 item. We're sitting at 13 tactics, and 13 tactics is good for entering Prison Depths. So far we're okay on damage. The first two bombs do not change at all. And now we're going to get into the real changes. And like I said, here we're going to take Schema because Schema works with Phaser very nicely. And with Initiative, I should be able to one-shot most enemies, and with Hammers, I should be able to 2 or 3 shot it. And this is going to start off right away with the Curse. And I'll be able to show you what that dynamic thing looks like as well. So you can kind of see right there, it looks like a little colorless. I think that's such a cool change. But the scroll is kind of grayed out, so that means it'll dynamically increase with whatever your highest stat is. So it's 10 enemies right off the bat. So I'm just trying to aggro every enemy possible. I was just trying to play this as safely as possible, honestly. But we are good to go on that curse. So our first curse chest is done. This is a very, very tricky spot. Because I don't really have anything that can do like damage over time yet. And for some reason that knife thrower didn't aggro me, which is what I was hoping for. But then I finally got him to aggro me right there. And enemies are bugging out over there, so I get the great idea to use the head. There we go. That was a little weird, but yeah, we get past it. So yeah, the quick bow is doing pretty good work right now. I actually messed that up pretty badly, in all honesty. So we're gonna try... There were so many enemies on that platform. I'm so glad that I didn't go through with actually trying to go down there, because there were like 6 enemies there, and including a masker. So that was... I mean, that's just Prison Depths for you, but still, like, that was pretty ridiculous. Now my thought is, like, are there any more enemies available? And, oh boy, that box is sure something else, right? It's still ridiculous, but we're able to get the kill just in time, so we're sitting okay right now. But worth it to know that my 50% at full HP is gone now, so I'm not going to be doing as much damage. So now I got to be more careful than I was before. I had kind of not... I had somewhat good luck with my scrolls, but kind of not great luck. So this fight is weird. So let's... First of all, I missed my wolf trap, so that's not good. Second of all, silver bats start hitting me. And then the laser hits me. But we get the kill, and we're at 75% health. Or 72% health, excuse me. And I just decide here, okay, yeah, I might as well take the drumstick, get my 50% back. Stay at full health. And then we're going to watch it immediately go away. Because I screwed up. And I got lucky when the bat didn't hit me, so... Whoo, not doing well. And I literally have no idea how I didn't get hit there. So yeah, you can see that Prison Depths is significantly shorter. I am going to get my 50% back because I do have Tonic unlocked for this run. This build is very specific, so I only have 4 items unlocked because those are the 4 items that work with this build. So, and Tonic is just for healing. So, of course, that doesn't really benefit me when I'm at bosses because I'm not really going to be taking any tonics with me. But it's just something that I need. So I was really debating between something like Predator and then Tranquility or Ammo, but Tranquility is the best for me here. I have more than enough ammo to last me. But we're one-shotting things right now. But yeah, this is kind of where the power is starting to take a turn for the worse because I'm only at 14 right now. Whereas I would have been at 15 in the old Prison Depths. And every scroll matters. I'll say that. Every scroll matters in 5BC and 4BC as well. I have no idea why my shot didn't go through that thorny. I don't know why I went straight for the failed experiment because I almost got hit because of that. I would have been very, very salty had I gotten hit. If you're on a platform from above and you want to shoot enemies below with the weapon, certain weapons can do the whole thing where you kind of duck down and start shooting. So try to make use of that if you can, especially when you're dealing with smaller enemies like the corpse juices. Not all ranged weapons can do that. Like magic missiles can't do it, heavy crossbow can't do it, but quick bow can. And I think Nurse of Steel also is able to do it. And Marksman can do it too, I believe. I want to say it does it. So that's our curse chest, so we are going to do this. That curse chest is always there in Ossuary. And then you're going to see my little blunder right here. Accidentally aggro that elite. And it's the Aura elite, so thankfully I wasn't caught by it, and then we can just keep continuing. With amulets, unless like it's a really good affix that I get, I typically just go for the one that gives me the scrolls that I want. I know some people are a little different with what they take, but for me, I just go according to what's going to give me better scrolls. Like, I will always take a triple tactics over a double tactics, for example, or a single tactics, even if the affixes on the triple tactics aren't good. Like, if I get a double jump on like a singular tactics one, but I end up with the triple tactics, I don't care what that triple tactics has. I'm going to take it because I want more scrolls. And especially in 1.5, when you're kind of hemorrhaging scrolls, like that's a good thing to have. That's why I have Tranquility, because Quickbow has really, really good range. And now Initiative is starting to work as well, because now I can one-shot a lot of enemies. Well, at least the lighter enemies, such as the Shield Bearers, the Shockers, things like that. Because that down smash counts as a melee attack. And that's my 60. So we'll end up getting a level 9 weapon, or have a chance to get a level 9 weapon for Concierge, assuming that I survive this. But I rarely ever die in Ossuary. I die a lot in Prison Depths, but rarely ever in Ossuary. Usually if I die in Ossuary, it's because I was being careless. Because even on Brutality builds, when you can end up hitting the backs of Thornies, like I'm usually able to like have some sort of skill that'll make sure I don't hit them. I love builds like this when I can make use of like all of my what is it? Items and skills rather than just like focus on one, because I feel like I'm using my Assassin's Dagger and my Quick Bow like very indiscriminately. Did I get a double? No, I didn't get a double. I got the rotating laser. But I'm trying to find somewhere where I can get good grounding. And there we go. It was just an issue of me needing to play it safe right there. And that's actually a really good amulet. Mine 75% damage reduction on shots is really good, especially for knife throwers. And we're going to get our fourth scroll fragment, and we're going to see that we got that earlier. So yeah, so you could see how that ends up becoming like an actual scroll. You know what I think would be better is if it actually became like a triple scroll. I think that would be pretty neat. So you can kind of see how that lack of scrolls is hurting me, because with that build, I should be at like 22 or 23. That's how I would be in 1.4, but instead I'm only at 21. So that is already kind of an issue. But it's not that much of an issue because 21 is still really good for concierge. There really wasn't much of a difference between that one. It was just victims burn when they die versus Toxic Cloud. Toxic Cloud has more range, and Poison is generally a better status than Burn. So that's why I went with that one. So you can see right away, like Concierge just starts off with the aura. So a bit interesting. So we perfect him. Now we can go get whatever we need to go get. And you get 3 of these scroll fragments too. So I will be able to get 1 new stat. So I'll be at 22. And that's always nice. We're going to drop it back down to 21. Because that is nice. I don't care if that doesn't pierce. Like, that is still nice to have. And plus, Quick Bow is so fast anyways. Like, and this thing with Toxic Cloud and 100% to poison, it's going to knock out enemies very, very quickly. So, for me, it legitimately does not matter. Like, if it doesn't pierce. Like, I will take that every single time. Or at least 90% of the time, I will take that. I will be fixing that affix later on. But right now, there's just no need to do that. Speaking of Frantic Sword. So I need to get to a better vantage point for me. And that is not the vantage point that I wanted. But we get the kill. We're good to go. I thought I had gotten hit there, but looks like I didn't. I'm not complaining. Worth it to know, we've been running with the same Assassin's Dagger since the first or second level. So I think I got in the first level actually. So yeah, I mean, first level items are okay if they are working. I didn't see that knife throw there, so I'm glad that I was able to catch him just in time before I took any damage. And we're just keeping that tonic there in case I get hit, so I can get a good heal. So this part is a little weird. I do some weird stuff here. Because I had no idea if I had killed that pirate captain, and then I jumped back down because I thought that biter was down there, but looks like that worm dropped the biter from such a long range that the thing died. So, lucky me, I guess. I made that way harder than I needed to. In reality, what I could have done instead, what I really should have done instead was just use phaser on that pirate captain. I don't know why I did what I did. Also, there's no curse in Stilt Village, so not a fan of that. I know why they made those changes because a lot of people were complaining that there were too many curse chests in the game. I'm not one of them because I love curse chests. And I love the new change to curse chests as well, but there needs to be more. Because I'm only at 22 in Stilt Village. And 22 is not really that high. Like, that's what I should be getting going into Stilt Village. I don't know how I didn't get hit in any of that. But that gives me the 60, so we can just move forward with this. Yeah, so this 100% the poison thing is really helping right now. I was looking for something that could give me toxic or poison damage, but no such luck so far. So keep in mind, Stilt Village had 3 curses before. So they took out all 3 of those curses in exchange for nothing. It's still the same amount of scrolls, I think. So I'm down 3 stat points because of the lack of curses. So that is worrisome. It means I'm not going to be getting the damage that I want. Because if I had those 3 curse chests, I'd be sitting at 27 instead of 24 right now. And that means I would have been in great shape heading into Sepulchre instead of just okay shape. Because keep in mind, I went from 21 to 24. Stilt Village usually gives me more than that. So I'm watching this run and I'm realizing the problem isn't necessarily Sepulchre, it's Stilt Village right now. Because Slumbering Sanctuary didn't change at all. You get a lot of scrolls out of Slumbering Sanctuary still because it has those 2 curse chests. So I would like to see those curses added back to Stilt Village, or at least one or two of those curses. So some of you may be wondering why I jump over that light, and you're going to see a very valid reason as to why coming up right now. Right now. So because I don't have Pierce on my quick bow, I have to really try and make sure that I have a lot of enemies running after me. So that's why I wanted to keep one of the lights dead for, one of the lights not turned on for now, so that like when I actually go back, if I need to, then I have that ready for me. So if I have an angry mob of enemies coming after me, then I'm set. Hold up, wait a minute. Yeah, I get one less scroll in tactics, but poison synergy when I already have a poison themed build. Yeah, we're taking that for sure. Generates the toxic cloud and 100% to poison. We are for sure taking that. There's no reason why we shouldn't. That cudgel looks nice, but 3 tactics. Yeah, because we already had a 3 tactics thing, and the one that I had was better because it gave me extra jumps. I got decently lucky right there. There we go. We got our second kill, and we're sitting good right now. We're almost at 60. I'm just running for my life away from that enemy. And that's our 60. All that for an electric whip that I'm not going to use. So, and so we have 4 enemies down there. The cleaver, I think that's called a cleaver. Yeah, it's the cleaver. Same as the skill, and a dark striker and 2 kamikaze bats. So we should be able to do this. And as you can see right there, I'm getting something with poison synergy now, because that's what I wanted. And then we're gonna go back to that 4 cell door, if I can find it. Yep, there it is. So yeah, we're going back to that 4 cell door because there were enemies on there, and I don't really feel like facing an elite right now. So, and I believe the last elite is going to be in this room, but the curse chest should be done before I get to it. And that's the curse chest. So you can see how that 100% poison is really doing a lot for me right now. And again, like I really wish I had taken a better phaser in this run. Because I do have the 15% affix, which is always good. But that would put me from like a level 4 to like a level 7 phaser. And I could have ended up with like a level 10 phaser. So that would have been much better for me. But, you know, ultimately it's not the biggest deal in the world. The problem was I never ended up with like a tactics one. So like a double tactics phaser. This room is still bugged because what's supposed to happen is first you get the weapon and then you hit that. And then there's supposed to be an enemy down there where you kill and then you get like 50 cells and like a bunch of gold. But the enemy just never appears. It's like 10% of the time the enemy actually appears for me. Sitting at 26 right now, which, again, like if it wasn't for Stilt Village, I would have been at 26 by the time I got 2 Sepulchers. So these are just things to just watch out for because the devs are still like working on this because we're only in alpha mode right now. So I think they have some tweaking to do, but I think, you know, 1.5 isn't as bad as I was making it out to be in the beginning. Like I went on that whole thing in my Valmont's whip run, and maybe that wasn't fair, but I did kind of feel strongly about the fact that, yeah, like, you know, there were some significant shortcomings to 1.5. But it doesn't mean it's like unplayably bad, right? Like there's some good to be had in it. And I do like the idea of these scroll fragments. I think it's kind of interesting. But again, it doesn't really make up for the lack of scrolls that I have right now. This is kind of difficult, but I just remember that we can dodge. How did I not get hit there? I still don't understand that about this game. Like, sometimes I'll get hit in spots like that, sometimes I won't. I don't really understand it. Like, that singular jump should have hit me, but it didn't for whatever reason. And that's something I'm still trying to understand. And I guess, like, whatever, because I didn't end up, like, getting hit, so it's not that big of a deal, but, like, it's still like, huh. I think it just has to do with the fact that I didn't go directly into the spike and I was just adjacent to it. Maybe it's like a pixel thing, I'm not entirely sure. 127 is a lot for this biome. Like, it really is a lot. I feel like the only reason I'm actually doing well right now in this biome is because of that toxic synergy that I have with the quick bow. I feel like that's the only reason right now. I mean, granted, I'm also playing pretty well, right now. But, you know, not to discount my own playing, but at the same time, I also feel that like this run goes very differently if I don't have the synergy that I do. But I actually, and this is that right there shows why I really like this build because it has good range, but then if I need to do close combat, I can do that. These are two S tier weapons. Actually, I have all of these in S tier when I did my tier rankings, and you know it's easy to see why. We're finally done with this level. And right here is where I realized that there was no uh, elite room, and then I forgot, and then I remembered. Oh yeah, that's right. So I'm only at 29 for Timekeeper, which is really, really low. And I'm realizing that Stilt Village is the main problem here. It's not necessarily um, Sepulcher. It really is Stilt Village. It's because if I had gone to Slumbering Sanctuary, I would probably be at like 31 or 32, which still isn't good. Because usually by Timekeeper, I would around with this sort of build, I would have been around at like a 33 or 34, and that would have been really good for this fight. But 29 for this fight is not good, and Timekeeper still like has a good amount of health. I have no idea why she turned around in the middle of the wolf trap. Maybe I think the wolf trap had died. It was just bad luck on my part. But, you know, we get through the fight, and we're able to recover most of that damage anyways, and luckily for me, a tonic drops, so I can just pick that up, and then we're good to go. And yeah, we do enter High Peak Castle with 30, but again, 30 is a really low stat. And not to mention, I didn't see any challenge rifts, and even watching this again, I didn't see any challenge rifts. So, they really need to add scrolls. If they're not going to put in curse chests, they really need to start adding more scrolls. And I decided to go with the shots pierce all enemies and forego the toxic cloud. For the main reason that, you know, High Peak Castle has a lot of mobs. So if I can start piercing enemies, that would be nice. Because not being able to pierce enemies would really, really hurt me. Because I'm already anticipating getting hit at least once when I'm here. Hopefully I don't get hit more than once or twice. Just because that would smell the end of the run for me. But yeah, like 30 heading into here is not very good. So I'm going to be taking this very, very, very slowly. So I'm just trying to think like, okay, what can I really aggro here? So at least that's one-shotting the whatchamacallit, the Guardian. So that's always good. That mace ball is really frightening me right now, honestly. So I'm just trying to take that as slow as I can and take advantage of the Homunculus Rune when you can. Yeah, it's a bit cheesy sometimes, but hey, it's 5 boss cell on a tactics run. I deserve to be able to at least cheese with something, you know? That was a bit comical right there. Basically, the demon and the bomber both flew into the spikes, and they both fell on top of the demon, which killed them both. So, go me, I guess, right? We're gonna do the old High Peak Castle strat of clearing out the entire overworld before going into the rooms. That was what I used to do all the time. Worms are once again killing my run. I don't like worms. But I guess the worms did the job and they killed the bomber, which was nice. These give me so much anxiety. Because if I get hit, I'm taking way too much damage. All that just for a tonic that I'm never gonna take. Such is the life. I really am like playing this way too safe right now. Like I understand that this is not very fun to watch, but I'm doing what I have to do to keep this run alive. Because the last run I did with this, I actually died in High Peak Castle to a Guardian, who I've been getting hit by a lot lately. I don't know why. I've been playing very reckless against Guardian lately. But yeah, and then so this was my third run with this build, or fourth run. The first one I died in Sepulcher to a double cleaver elite because I was in a confined space and I just kept getting hit with the axe. Second time I died in a curse. Was it a curse? I think it was. I don't remember. I died to something. But it wasn't prison depths. That I do know. So now I'm just trying to aggro those demons. I'm like, come on, buddy, it's okay. I'm just gonna shoot you with arrows once you get down here. So I'm at a point where I'm just like, okay, screw it. Let's just aggro everything. We'll make that Rampager come down here. Now we just need to grab the Inquisitor and then we can be on our way up. The Inquisitor had the gall to try to avoid me, as I had the head on it. Had the absolute gall to do that. Oh, by the way, I did hit 60, so I'll be getting a level 11 weapon, potentially, if there's something that I like. But we're going to aggro everything. Well, mostly everything. In reality, it's really just going to be that Rampager, the Inquisitor up above, and then that Bomber. And then we're going to go for the Elite. And I'm going to lay down my wolf traps and then run away. Because I have Tranquility up right now, so that does a lot of damage. So there we go. We're done with that Elite. And here's where I forgot how to play Dead Cells. Luckily, bombers don't actually do that much damage, so I was okay. But man, that was kind of stupid. That might have been the only hit that I took there. But it's funny because I normally never get hit by bombers. But that was like the one time I did. That is chaotic. And I'm just like, screw it. Let's just aggro him at this point. And then we're going to aggro the other demon. And then I noticed the Inquisitor there, and I'm like, let's not do that. And then this idiot walks into the spikes, so we're good now. And that's why I am happy that I stuck with the Pearsall instead of the Toxic Cloud, because that's what allowed me to clear out that mob right there. Because otherwise, I'm certainly getting hit with something. I don't know what, but I'm getting hit with something. The only reason I didn't take that phaser is because I'm already low on tactics as is. Like, 31 is really bad, so... Especially for this point in the game. So now we've cleared out the entire biome, we've gotten all scrolls, so now we're just going to proceed with the rest of this. Who knew that a demon could fall down and kill an entire guardian? I'm cool with it. Yeah, at least we're making quick work of the elites, so that's nice. And yeah, at this point, it's just really more about just trying to finish this out. And I do see that scroll fragment right there, so we're gonna go grab that. And they did add some scrolls, so it's not as bad as it was on Wednesday in 5.0, but the scrolls still need work, I feel. Ooh, that was close. I don't know what to I don't know what to aggro, so we're just gonna go get that Inquisitor. And we have one more, and we're gonna be on our merry way to the throne room. And thankfully no enemies, because I don't think I have the energy to deal with any more enemies. Both in terms of this recording and in terms of just, I think I was playing at that point, because I'm recording this right as I finished playing. So this is the first time I've ever completed a run and done a commentary right after it. So it's very interesting to see what you just did, because usually I take a few days. Hand of the King time. And keep in mind, Hand of the King skips the first phase. So he's going to start doing his normal 3-strike combo right away. So I do need to be cognizant of that. Thank you, Tonic. Get me back to full. And yeah, we're going to go back to Toxic Cloud. Reforge a couple times. I have a lot of money because I haven't bought anything in a good long time. And we are going to change our mutations up a little bit. So now we want Scheme and Ripper instead of the other one that I had, Tranquility. Because at this point, Tranquility is more or less useless. Because I'm going to end up facing 2 bosses, and then Astrolabe is so wide open anyways. And enemies are fairly fragile in there, so there's just not really a need to do it. There aren't any like super bulky enemies with the exception of Slammers. That was already close right there. We're already getting close. So with this, you have to actually drop it to below like 40%. I'm getting a lot better at anticipating the damage. Luckily for me, the elite just drops right there right away. So I can go and kill that. And we hit it very, very close, but uh, we get it just in time, and we're able to kill it. Those flags almost exploded on me, but just in the nick of time, I'm able to do it. So we perfect on Hand of the King. That gave me goosebumps because I was just like, man, like that was one of the best Hand of the King fights I've ever had, especially because he skips his first phase now. Like the first phase is usually like an easy like kill, but just jumping into that first phase and then like getting the kill, that I don't know, that was like super meaningful to me. I was so proud of myself for that, and we are for sure taking that. Victims release Toxic Cloud Niche Hit and 100% of poison. Yeah, for sure we are taking that. Unfortunately, that drops us down back to 32, but I don't care. That you need something like that. Yeah, so I'm still kind of learning the new librarians in this. So sometimes I'll aggro you, sometimes not. It's a weird property that they have right now. I'm not entirely used to it yet. Librarians are a little bit easier to handle now in some aspects, and also I've never gotten the elite that quickly. So that was kind of cool. And then just, this is actually a little bit of a bizarre Astrolab for me because I end up in spots that I didn't really expect to end up in. And a little bit of bad luck as well. And I'll be able to kind of show you what I mean in a little bit. Yeah, so you can see that librarian in all other in 1.4 would have just gone towards you, but here it's just hanging out. And unfortunately for me, I didn't get any good scrolls while I was in Astrolab. I really could have used a quadruple scroll. I've only ever gotten it once. I mean, I've seen in other stats, but never in my desired stat. Only one time has that ever happened. And that is a food shop, so if I really, really need to go get food, there it is. But I'm sitting at 4 health potions, so I don't really need to take a health potion. What I should take if I need to is going to be that, whatchamacallit, the drumstick. Yeah, so librarians are definitely acting a little weird as far as like aggroing you. And I don't think it's like worse or better or anything. I just think it's something I need to get used to. And we have a close call with death right here. Actually, no, that's not the close call. There is a very, very close call later on. Yep, right here. I was just out of range for that. If I gotten hit, I'm basically back down to 1 HP. But somehow I ended up here, and I'm not entirely sure how that happened. Like, I legitimately do not know how that happened. I'm just trying to figure out what to do with that librarian. I'm desperately trying to get it to aggro me. And then I come up with the idea eventually of just like keep spamming my Assassin's Dagger until I kill it. Just keep spamming it. Eventually it'll come. Yay, there we go. Kill the librarian. Yeah, and Phaser Assassin's Dagger's not even killing a failed experiment, so that's something that is not good at the moment. So we are gonna aggro that librarian into the little thing, and I make a bad mistake right here. It was a pretty bad mistake on my part. Really could have cost me the run. Unfortunately, it didn't, but and I still have good health, but I should have just been patient. That was completely on me. So yeah, we're just trying to aggro that bomber. And it's likely due to the fact that I don't have 20% to crits, and I opted for poison damage instead. That was purely for collector, honestly. And so that, I mean, that's the reason I did that. But yeah, I don't know how I missed the librarian there, but yeah, I mean, luckily I didn't get hit, so there's that. Also, it's getting shielded at weird moments, so like when it was far below, it was getting shielded, but when it was right next to the defender, it wasn't. Bomber's over here cheating right now. He's cheesing. He's trying to get that cheap hit on me. Nope, not gonna happen. Not happening, Mr. Bomber. No way in hell am I gonna let that happen. And then just run away and just keep shooting until it dies. I'm actually really glad these don't have any abilities. The failed experiment and the other one, the whatchamacallit, the the slammer. I'm very, very glad that they don't have abilities because, oh boy, that would have screwed me over big time. Now I don't think I can really afford to get screwed over much more. I mean, I haven't gotten screwed over at all in this build. I've gotten some really good drops. The only thing I didn't get was a good phaser, and then, like I said, like the lack of scrolls is kind of hurting. But besides that, like it's been a real good build. Now I'm just trying to get this librarian over here. Let that thing die. Biters are very annoying. I really hope that they do something about that because it's more harmful than it seems. Like biters have almost killed me several times now. This has been a recurring theme. I hate biters. I really hate the worms. I know like it's not like the best thing in the world to say that, but I can't deal with biters anymore. Like they just destroy my runs sometimes. Yay for Chlor Instinct at least, right? Right? Actually, one thing I'd like to see is, and we are for sure taking that. I don't need Pierce at this point because I'm really only going to be dealing with one enemy at a time from here on in. So we were for sure taking that. There's no need to worry about Pierce. And actually, this completely renders the Forgotten Map useless. Like now I'm thinking about it, like Forgotten Map was already completely useless, but now is like even more useless. So we get our final bit of health. That's the last scroll of the game. And that should be the last librarian, I want to say. One of the last, at least. Because we aggroed a few. I'm just going to use my head on everything at this point because I just don't really want to take any more hits than I already have in this run. Which, to be fair, I actually haven't taken that many hits, but I just really don't want to. Yeah, assassins. Yeah, the whole phaser thing can be weird sometimes because enemies won't come towards you like you'll get kind of pushed off a little bit sometimes. And with Assassin's Dagger, because the range is so short, you'll end up missing, and then you can end up taking hits like that. So you just have to be a little cognizant of like how that's gonna like configure into your run. So just be prepared to dodge a lot. And I actually think Root Grenade is way better for dealing with mobs than Wolf Trap is. It's the same thing with Stun Grenade, but even better than Wolf Trap for mobs. Wolf Trap is actually not that good for mobs. There's literally no need for me to do that, but I like to open those doors. I cannot explain why. I just like doing it. Let's do the old elevator trick. Almost knocked me into that, almost knocked me into the laser. That would have done way too much damage. But we're done. We're done with this level, and we can go and fight Collector finally. It's been a pretty long run, because especially I took a long time in Astrolab and High Peak Castle because I was already scared because I had died in High Peak Castle already, and in Astrolab I had taken those few hits from the Collector. But overall, I'm not taking that many hits. Like, I'm really not taking that many hits. And so Initiative is going to be completely useless, so we're going to replace that with, what's that? Emergency Triage. And Ripper's going to be real nice. And we've already seen how good Ripper is with the Hand of the King, and that's what allowed me to no-hit it. And with Collector, that's going to be even better. Because with Collector, he telegraphs his attacks more than Hand of the King does. Hand of the King is more instinct. Collector is more like, you can actively prepare for him. And keep in mind, he is jumping right to his set. He didn't change that much, actually. Not that I remember. He still more or less does the same thing. Which was weird. And actually, interesting to note, so... interesting to note, so if you climb along those walls, You actually won't get hit by the falling little thingamajigs. I have no idea how I didn't get hit there. So I don't get him into healing right away, so that's doesn't spell good for me. But that's because I was playing very conservatively. So now that damage is starting to rack up a little bit. So yeah, now the damage is racking up because of that toxic synergy that I have. Keep in mind, we're only at 33 tactics. We're really at a low damage range. I'm just really shocked that I didn't get hit there at all. But now we knock the Panacea out, we can heal. And then he jumps right away, so we'll have to hold off on that kill for a little bit longer. But now we're just shredding him. That's it. No hit Collector, we no hit Hand of the King, we almost no hit Timekeeper, and we no hit Concierge. With only 33 tactics, I no hit Collector, so I'm very happy with that. I had a good amount of health too. So, yeah, I mean, that's 1.5.1 in a nutshell. That's the alpha that we're currently at. Still needs a little work, but I think, there's some stuff that I really, really, really like, and there's some stuff that I'm not a big fan of. So that's going to do for this run. Thank you all for joining me. I'm very, very proud to show you guys my 1.5 footage. And hopefully, we get some interesting changes. Have a good night, everybody.